One. Now we're recording video.
What up? What up?
Recording.
How's it going? How's it going?
Good, good. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Fantastic. How are you, Justin?
Good, good. It's been nuts.
It's too
Wild
good,
time.
dude.
Wild time we're living in.
Yeah, I'm in the restaurant industry, so I'm out of work.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm here.
You're
trying to stay busy.
toast. You're toast
man.
until like August.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh, God.
Feeling for you.
God, man.
Yeah, but luckily we're gonna bounce back pretty good. It's a brunch spot, and
Nice.
we're already before this we were slammed every day and night, so
You'll get it back.
yeah, it'll come right back, and it's gonna
Yeah.
be good. I'm looking forward to that influx of everybody wanting to get out of the house and just
Getting some hot brunch.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, you thought bottomless mimosas were popular before. You were
Yeah,
mistaken.
no shit. No
Oh
shit.
yeah.
Can we
Makes
swear
so
on
much
this?
money?
Or
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Don't give me demerits, Justin.
I just have to click explicit content on YouTube as
Nice.
I
There you
upload
go.
this or something.
Oh, that'll hurt the iTunes rating.
That'll headache you more. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just barely got iTunes to start working again. I've been using Spotify for the
course.
podcast for since the beginning, I think. And then I changed thumbnail images on my website where the RSS is coming from.
Yeah.
And it was too big for iTunes, and it just canceled updating and didn't tell me. So for the longest time, I just wasn't even looking at it. I was like, why are my
Jeez,
iTunes numbers
bro.
non-existent?
Oof.
Talk about the forgotten wasteland at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just brought it back up, and it's still people aren't really using it. I think everybody got used to Spotify.
Yes.
Took
absolutely.
over. It totally took over.
I know.
They made it way too easy. They made it way too easy.
Poor Apple, am I right?
And they had to get rid of iTunes entirely.
Those poor bastards.
How are they ever going to survive?
Yeah,
won't.
for real, dude. For real.
I wonder what they're doing. Are they just everybody there could work from home?
I know.
Right?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
assume
Yeah.
they can take control of our computers and our brains and make us do shit.
Yeah. I should hope the tech companies can figure out how to work remotely.
Yeah.
They'll be all right.
And if they can't, we are all just fucked.
Then we're really
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
There's got to be someone in Palo Alto who figured this shit out a long time ago.
Yeah. Good luck.
For real. For real.
How are you guys doing with Spotify numbers and all that?
Horrible.
Yeah, we're
really?
Yeah, we're like constantly figuring out how to boost those bad boys, and
I hate it.
feels like
I hate it.
throwing pasta against the wall constantly and nothing's sticking.
Wow, I
wanna
figured
make
now was the
records,
time.
I don't want to give a shit about Spotify numbers.
Yeah, you know what? I guess I haven't even checked, so I can do this real live time, huh?
Ooh.
This is solid content. Checking Spotify artist.
And it's not, the thing is it's never horrible. If anyone is listening, it's fantastic.
Exactly.
And I appreciate you very much.
Oh.
What is horrible is, what? Where we at? Oh, God.
I mean, it's not great still, but it's this is how well we're doing, Justin. Is I'm super pumped about 29 listeners and 170 streams in the last 7 days. So,
Wow.
Well,
but exactly what Chris is saying is right. Is like he and I both have to kind of do this where we go okay, listen, we are doing the Lord's work. This is
Jesus, don't say that. I don't have a Lord.
We're working. Big
no
man
gods, no
upstairs.
masters.
Big man / big woman upstairs. Getting pumped on us listening to 29 people. So it's
Gaia.
cool. It's really, seriously, we should consider ourselves lucky that there are people who want to have us on their podcast, that people listen to music.
Yeah,
We've had some good friends texting us the last couple of days saying that they're bumping our stuff and it's helping them through it, and that's nice. It's been good. So.
Yeah.
That's
No,
great. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. No, go for it.
Oh, I was just saying.
No.
It's Ned, you're making it worse. No, I was just gonna say those numbers are surprising. That because your shows are so epic.
Thanks, man. That's
Thanks,
nice of
dude.
you to say. Yeah, we as I think it definitely, you can tell where we focused a lot of our energy, right?
Yeah.
And I think maybe now is a time, Chris and I have been kind of talking a lot, like we always do, but just now more than ever calling each other and just going like, okay, how do we reshape the game plan? Because we really have focused a lot on the live show, on touring, on like making direct connections with people versus virtual connections with people. And now's our time to figure out how to pivot and how to,
Yeah.
The thing that sucks, what I was saying before, just to wrap that up, was the fact that like the number has now become the social and industry standard to decide if the music you made was good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which like that's what drives me nuts, right?
I mean, it's kind of always been that way, though, hasn't it?
Always.
Yeah.
Since you
it
could
was sales before
commodify
that,
music,
yeah.
it has been that way, right? Since you could commodify music. But, in this like wild west of the industry right now where like anything goes, everyone's making their own records, they're all doing their own shit. I think that it's way less true now than ever of quality versus the correlation. My hands are not appearing here, but they're here. Is quality versus quantity of listeners, you know what I mean? Like, because there's so much amazing music that like we're just so what's the word, congested, inundated all the time. It's like, it's crazy. That's what I hate. I hate that feeling of going nuts that I'm doing something wrong because
because something's not working
socially hasn't been right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's the name of the game of music these days, and really any art is just like the world is constantly evolving, and so it's less about catching up and more about getting ahead and trying to figure out where, like, how to kind of meet the train where it's going instead of running after the train.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's I think that's probably where a lot of our energy and time is going to be going here in the next.
Well, and I think Ned and I are pretty old school with how we run. Sorry Party is like, we still are firm believers that like the internet presence is completely necessary. You have to do it. And it's an incredible way to connect with like fans and people more than ever. But like, we're old school in the sense of like, we also truly believe that like, nothing is better than just getting in the van and doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing will ever beat that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's how we run our ship, kind of.
Yeah, some people are fed by looking at their phone and looking at Instagram and seeing how many likes they're getting, and we are fed by like getting out and having any number of people at a show come up and go like, "Whoa, that was awesome! Thank you so much for doing this." Like that is the shit that makes us feel alive, rather than like I don't know, the kind of instant gratification scrolling kind of stuff. But that's I don't mean to say that as like belittling that or
no,
whatever.
Of course
it's
not.
just
no.
It's
kind of the beauty of the situation we are in right now as musicians, artists, any comedy, podcasting. I mean, literally anything, right? Like there is absolutely no rules, right? Everyone's trying to get to the island over there, and like, doesn't matter how you get there, you just get there somehow. And for some people it's getting in the van, others it's running their website from their home and never playing a live show. And like, that's great, because at the end of the day, as consumers and listeners of music, like, we're all winning, either way, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I can kind of get behind that.
Oh, 100%. But there's that difference between like Ned, you said not to talk shit about that demographic, but there's a difference between like an influencer and an artist, like,
Totally.
somebody not paying attention to the numbers, just cranking out content, and which that word is driving me crazy lately.
I know. Me too, dude. I totally am with that.
Like, we have to, like, it seems like we have to use it at this time, but like, hate it. Like, when did we decide that it's content and not like work or like arts or any of the other words we used before streaming services and before Instagram?
Right.
Yep. Yeah. And one thing with all of this whole conversation, like, I think one thing that Chris and I talk about a lot is like, there is no use to like kind of screaming into the void and going like, curse this fucking world we live in. Like, it's not, especially for us as artists, like, you could waste your whole career doing that and trying to like pound the world for being the way that it is right now, but that doesn't compute. It doesn't yield any fruit. And so for us, it's more about kind of, like I said, trying to figure out how to pivot and how to embrace it, and then also try to compromise and meld what we are fed by, because ultimately, like, art is both unselfish and selfish, and so, like, for us, the selfish part is getting that high of, like, throwing the fuck down at a live show, and I mean that both figuratively and literally, and making those emotional connections, and then, you know, but also trying to figure out how to do the virtual thing, because there is a lot of there's so much use in that, and ways of connecting with people who are across the country, you know, across the world, and getting to, yeah, it also is like, it's nice finding the joy in the person who emails us from the UK to go like, hey, just wanting to reach out, like, great fucking job, you guys are killing it, I can't believe, you know, more people don't know about you. Like, that's a fun message to get.
That's what
I can't believe.
My God, I know.
That's gotta be.
I'm going to write a book when I'm going to write a book one day called "I Can't Believe More People Don't Listen to You." Yeah, bruh, been here the whole fucking time.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking tell me about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. And yeah. So it's and you're definitely not going to get to the people who can spread you across the internet by cursing the internet, you know.
No, of course.
Well, it's so saturated now. Everybody has a mic. Everybody has the ability to record and broadcast in way, shape, or form. So it's just even harder now to sift through it all.
Right.
Yeah. And on the other coin, I find literally new bands that I fucking love, like, literally every day. You know, I find, like, new bands every day from, like, fucking Idaho that I never would have found in another life. You know, you're like, oh my God, these guys are rock. Well, how are you just in Idaho, you know?
Yeah. I found a few in Idaho too, because it got postponed till September, but I'm covering with Jeanette.
Nice.
What's it called? Treefort Fest.
Yeah, dude. Treefort's
is awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, so we're going to cover
my
that.
favorite festival in the country.
Really? This is my first time hearing about it. I didn't realize. I was like, what is Boise? What's going on in Boise?
Dude,
and
ton of great bands.
Damn. Yeah, they have some
ton
good
of great
stuff.
bands.
Yeah, we found out about it about what 5 years ago now. We were playing up in Oakland, and we shared the stage with this really killer band called Marshall Poole.
They're badass.
They're
Poole, dude.
Yeah, shout out Marshall Poole. And they this show, it's a house show in Oakland, and it is very cool, but it's a little too cool. But it's not too cool. That's not true. But it's like, it's kind of got that thing where you go like, oh man, I feel badass for playing this, baby.
Yeah,
even though there's like 5 people in there, but they got some like iguanas in like aquarium tanks over in the side of the room, and like a stage they literally built that day for us to be on. And we were playing with this band. We were touring with this band that we had brought on with us, and they showed up something like 4 hours late to the gig.
Oh shit!
And because they were 4 hours late, the people wanted to kind of like maintain the sanctity of the order of the bill, and this band was supposed to be first.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, long story short, it got to the very end of the night. Marshall Poole was supposed to be playing next to last. They were kind of main support, and it was 1:30 by the time that rolled around, and they had to check into their hotel by 2.
3 or 2.
Something like that. And it was across the bay. It was like in San Francisco. And so they had time to play one song, and to this day, Chris and I use this term all the time, where I think it was their lead singer, Ryder. Well, their guitar player and one of their singers, Ryder, and he went like, well, we're just gonna Jesus this shit, and they like loaded their stuff. They loaded their stuff on stage, and they threw down their heaviest fucking song.
It was so sick,
like 3 minutes long, and everybody, we were like, it was like our band just standing there going like, oh yeah, like we were all like fucking hair blown back.
They literally just threw down.
They jumped off stage and left, and it was badass. And then they housed us when we were touring through Boise, and you know, it was there's a lot of cool shit going on in Boise. All that to say, and Marshall Poole really turned us on to Boise kind of ahead of time. Like we caught the Treefort thing about 3 years before everybody else did. Not to be one of those people, but it's one of the benefits.
Oh yeah, I mean,
touring.
They just have such a good selection of bands. Like, all the bands that will be massive in 2 or 3 years, 5 years, they've been playing Treefort for 2 years. You know, like they do a great job with that. Of like, And my friend saw Always playing at Treefort like 5 years ago, like before anyone knew
Oh,
who
wow.
they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just
And we've been trying to get into Treefort for a minute now. So Treefort, if you can hook it up, we got to be on that bill for 2 years before people start listening to us. So.
Oh yeah.
That's just the
that's
the barrier
that's
now.
why they're letting us on
Yeah.
this year. That's why they're letting us on this year, because you know, they're going to get us on before people start listening to us. So this is the time, you know.
Now's the time, probably, right? Because I'm sure a lot of those bands are going to drop out.
Well,
like the lineup is going to change a little bit.
We had our massive South by showcase canceled this year, and we were really bummed about that.
35 years they never canceled.
We were going to have,
we were
going to have Chris with us and everything. Ludo was going to do a feature. And
we were playing some select tracks from Word of Mouth, where I was going to rap 3 of the verses, and Ludo was going to take 1.
Going to take the 4th. So we're pretty bummed. I mean, you know, we were doing a massive festival circuit this year. You know, first time playing Coachella, and we lost that. I mean, it's just really disappointing, honestly.
So the boat's just gone. It's on the horizon now.
Well, yeah, it's pushed back another year, so it'll be 3 years before we're world famous, and we'll stop receiving those emails about, man, I wish more people listened to y'all.
In the UK, no less.
Yeah.
You guys ever go out there?
Oh, not yet.
We're really like, it's like I'm chomping at the bit hard. I've never been there, period.
Yeah.
So like, I also want to do that.
Yeah.
But I've heard nothing but like a lot of people tell us, like, you got to get out of the UK. Like, they love the type of music you make. And I'm like, I know, dude, I want to go so bad.
Yeah, Europe loves LA, like LA,
yes,
especially in like the psych department and everything like that.
Yeah,
but like,
and just rock and roll, period.
And just rock and roll, yeah.
It's you know, I mean, anyone who follows rock is like well aware of the trajectory, like the storied past of American bands not really getting the numbers they want here, and then going to the UK and really just like blowing the fuck up.
Yeah.
And we've kind of like dreamt of that for a couple of years now, and it's always made less sense for one reason or another than other ventures. But I think we're probably going to bite the bullet here in the next couple of years.
I think we're damn close. We're damn close to going, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, you know, Chris is a really talented booking agent, and like if anybody could do that without having to step foot in the place, it's him. And so like we're gonna, you know, we'll be doing that before we know it, I think.
Fucking up inboxes for the next 4 months. I've got plenty of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can introduce you to one person at least in Berlin. He knows,
dude.
He knows the local scene pretty well.
That's where I want to go so bad. I've heard.
Oh, really?
I've heard Berlin is like majestic for musicians.
Yeah,
majestic's the wrong word.
They.
I mean, it's a word.
An oasis.
An oasis.
Also a word. Yeah.
I've heard like they just treat musicians so well.
Yeah.
They love music, so.
Exactly. We were in Canada, and that was Toronto or Montreal. No, it was Montreal. We were in Montreal, and the sound guy kind of stopped us after the show, and he went like, "Hey, before you do anything else, you need to go to Germany." Like that. He was like, "Next stop for y'all should be Germany." We didn't listen to him.
Yeah.
But you know, he said like, "Next stop should be Germany because they take care of musicians like no other country, and 2, they're just gonna love you guys there." So like we should have, you know. If we had more money, we would have done it. But
my friend Tom and I, this past couple of months, my friend Tom Mantle and I, shout out to Big Tomo Presents, booked like a bunch of Australia dates for a friend of ours, and that was like my first kind of foray into booking like outside of the country. Outside, I should say now, because I've done Canada and Mexico and stuff, but like outside of North America. And it's crazy how like venues outside, like in Australia, we're treating artists so well. Like they're like, oh yeah, well, you know, they'll pay you flat, they'll give you food, drinks, and they put you up in a hotel. Like that's like a standard.
What? Nice.
Deal. You get a hotel with every book. It was crazy. I was like, I did literally no negotiating. It's like, okay, all right, well, this is cool. You know, did you pad that rider pretty well then? Yeah, green M&Ms.
Lots of M&Ms. Yeah.
I need some fireworks.
Select cheeses from around the world.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, that's cool.
Australia's been killing it lately. Past few years. I mean, I'm late to the party, and I miss them at the Echo, but that band. Amyl and the Sniffers.
Oh yeah.
Oh
They're
my
popping off
God.
right now. They're
I'm
popping
so
off.
mad that I missed that show, but it's sold out almost immediately. And it
Yeah.
was just one of those where I was like, where have these guys been? And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
we've been bumping Violent Soho a lot. That's another Australian
You
band.
know
that
about
really
them? Violent
awesome.
Violent
Soho?
Soho? No.
Oh my God,
Check those dudes
please.
out.
My friend Tom, who is from Australia, when we saw him, he was like, or when he saw us at Echo Park Rising, he was like, oh, you guys sound a lot like Violent Soho.
Hmm.
Yeah, really fucking cool.
Nice. Where'd you guys play at Echo Park Rising?
We've done 6 City Records the last 2 years. 2 years or 3 years? 2 years. And they're so great, man. They're great. They're a great fucking record shop run by a bunch of awesome dudes, but they do such a good job with Echo Park Rising. Every year we've played it has been crazy packed. This last year was so fun.
Yeah.
I'm like already looking forward to next year. I hope they have us back.
Yeah, I really firmly believe that's one of the best kept secrets in LA is
No
Six
doubt.
Cities Showcase. I mean, they had Jesse Clavin from Bleached, which was really cool to get to play with her and to see
Her set was dope, dude. Her set was sick, yeah.
Very cool. And just tons of other killer bands. The
Turtles on Speed
played. I always forget.
Deuterella.
Deuterella.
Deuterella's so dope, yeah.
Cigarette Bums played.
Cigarette Bums, yeah, I know.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's been super cool the last couple of years. So maybe this will get the secret out. But those guys are great, and they really care about the local scene and really care about LA as a whole. They're both, So anyway,
they're super cool about artists selling records in there too. Like they're just all about it. They're the good guys for sure.
They're the ones you want on your side. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
I got stuck there like 2 years ago. Not at the record store. I got stuck at Little Joy.
Oh yeah.
I finally found parking after, that
Good
struggle.
Luck.
And I went to the Echo, and I had my backpack, I had my camera, and like a couple of lenses and stuff, and they wouldn't let me bring the backpack in. And I was like, look inside. It's
literally
camera and shit. Like that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, like just no at all. And I was like, well, fuck. So I just walked down the street to Little Joy, and they didn't give a shit. So I was like right up front.
Yeah, Little Joy's cool, really man.
Like they had a really good showcase too.
Yeah,
we got to go to theirs this year. I always miss theirs. We just played Little Joy, and I love the fucking room. The room's great.
Yeah, it's nice. It is
hot as hell, and I cannot believe how hot it was in that room.
A lot of bodies.
A lot of bodies.
Awful lot of bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you think it looks like a lot of space, and then it quickly doesn't.
It's like 20 people. It's like, whoo, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was a good spot.
Yeah, man. That festival is awesome. I mean, LA. I really firmly believe LA has one of the best rock scenes in the country that like people don't really pay attention to that much right now. I think like just on a national scene is not very big, but I think it's maybe one of those things where people go like, oh yeah, LA, we already did this, But I'm feeling like it's going to come back around for the rock scene coming out of LA way more than I was
way stoked that White Reaper. Are they from LA, by the way?
No, they're from Kentucky.
Never mind. Well, fuck me.
They're from Kentucky? I didn't realize that.
Those dudes are from Louisville, I think.
Wow.
Which is also hotbed for music, but that's a storied city for music. I mean, Louisville and Lexington, both that kind of area.
Yeah, I saw really good country music in a little dive bar there.
Oh, cool.
I was like, this just family band was they were playing for like 10 years. I was talking to them afterwards. I was like, how are you not? They didn't record anything. They didn't, they were just playing. And I was like, and the singer was the guitarist's daughter, and she's been in it since like she was a teenager or something, since before she could get into the bars.
Cool.
And I'm like, this band is so solid. Why aren't you guys recording them? Oh, we just like to play and blah blah blah. And I'm like,
it's insane.
All right.
Yep.
Cool.
Those people are dreams, man. Was it Mag Bar where you saw them?
No, it was called
I love that bar.
3rd Street Dive.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, it's a fun part about us is that like we've done so much touring.
Yeah.
we kind of do know the bars in most cities. But that's
dude. Next time you go, you got to go to Mag Bar, Justin.
Yeah.
It's awesome dive bar.
It's in Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it near 3rd Street? Because like that, there was just that row, right, of all the.
Mm-hmm. It's on it's. Go ahead.
I just think it's off more like on a residential area. It's off of 3rd Street, but I know what you're talking about. It's in a more residential area of town.
There's an awesome music store right nearby that Ned and I have almost bought a bunch of crazy expensive shit. Every time I go like, oh God, I need to get out of here.
Yep. Yeah.
All those box sets and everything.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
a couple of those.
crazy.
Yeah, Portland cleaned us out that way too. We bought too much there.
Too
But
much.
Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like I'd enjoy Portland a little too much.
Oh, have you never been?
No, I haven't. No,
bro,
I've always wanted to go. Same with like Seattle too. I haven't been to Seattle.
Both incredible cities.
Yeah, got a lot of cool bands in Portland too, which
Ton.
that's to be expected, I think.
Oh yeah,
people
that's
know about them, but
well, just like you were saying that LA is, overlooked musically so often. It's Portland, it's Seattle, and it's the Northeast of all places.
Amazing.
Too.
exactly. Yeah.
Like Don Giovanni Records was like rocking it for a while.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just all that, Philadelphia, even Connecticut, New Hampshire.
Philly right now is
Philly's out of
crazy
control.
popping off. There's so many good bands in Philly right now. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys play? Have you guys played Johnny Brenda's?
Yeah.
It's one of those venues I wanted to.
Yeah.
I definitely want to go to.
Yeah. I don't know if we've played it. I've played it independent of when I'm from Boston, so I used to tour on the East Coast a lot. I played it when I was on the East Coast. I don't think we've played it though, Ned.
No, we didn't. Kung Fu Necktie is where we were connected to in
Kung Fu
Philly.
Necktie.
Kung Fu Necktie.
Yeah.
I know that
Which
name
a bunch of my friends play there still. They're so good. Oh my God, that venue's great.
How about DC?
Love DC. I've played the Black Cat before.
Oh, nice.
I love DC, man. That's a great city. It's a fun city. I'm
lot
a
of
big
music.
punk guy, so just like I just like all the old school like punk venues still around. It's cool.
Oh yeah. DC 9
DC
was
rocks.
probably my favorite.
Oh, dude, so
DC
great.
9. Small place, and they would always have like great bands that could be at 930 Club, but ended up playing that little place down the street.
Always. I love it.
Perfect.
That's why I love
DC's
bands
sneaky.
from DC. They just don't give a fuck about any of that bullshit. They're just like they to our roots,
Oh yeah. I lived in Ian MacKay's neighborhood.
God. Oh my God.
And I would see him at the farmer's market, and I would just like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know how to even start a conversation with him.
Mr. Mackay, excuse me.
You guys are the reason.
Yeah, for real. Like, how many times does he hear that a fucking day of like, everything you did just influenced me so much.
Yeah.
And it's all true. It's all very true, though. It's just so funny.
Yeah,
like,
Minor Threat was such a big,
God.
got me into everything from there. Like they got to me early, I think, and that helped.
Yeah.
Not a huge Fugazi fan though. Like I just
really,
I didn't really like. I don't hate them. I just I didn't
Hot
like
take.
them enough to hot take. I didn't like them enough to like really dive in. I don't know why.
Cool. Yeah.
They're just one of those that I overlooked entirely.
You mean you didn't dive into the 17-song album they put out?
How could you?
When did you hear Minor Threat for the first time? That's what
I was probably in 7th grade.
That's about when I got it too.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That like, oh my God, that floored moment of like, Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? People are just screaming. And then I had a Discord compilation.
Nice, dude.
It was just like the year in 7 inches. It was 81, I think.
Wow.
So like Teen Idols, State of Alert.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Such great shit.
Yeah. It's so good.
The punk conversation is one I have to stay out of. I just never got into all my anger and all my frustration, all that kind of like teen angst stuff went right into metal. And so I just totally just like skipped over punk. I don't know. I mean, that's not true. I did pop punk for a long time.
Nice.
But like, that's how I graduated. I went pop punk, screamo, metal instead of, I never did punk, which I feel bad about. NoFX was like as punk as I got.
They're punk for sure.
Legends.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the actual,
punk.
that's the only actual punk music that I listened to. The rest was like kind of offshoots from.
Not even Rancid?
No, I heard
God.
NoFX, and then I went from NoFX to like Rufio and let's see, MXPX and like all those Warped Tour bands that were like before like All American Rejects got on
Ned was a
Warped Tour.
big Bowling for Soup guy for sure.
Bowling for
I,
Soup.
no, I like Bowling for Soup fine. I like Bowling for Soup all right. I loved Rufio. I loved, let's see, the Starting Line. I really like the Starting Line.
That
Alkaline
record's
Trio.
so good, though.
Yeah.
Alkaline Trio is amazing.
Alkaline Trio is cool. Yeah. And then I went from there to Under Oath and, The Bled, Job for a Cowboy, Emure. Like I steadily got heavier and heavier. And,
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
I just saw a tweet right before starting this that said that had the CDC right here, and then Under Oath here, and then they were shaking hands, and then the bottom said it's dangerous business walking out your front door. So great.
The meme game is strong right now.
Meme game is man. Strong. Dude.
Everybody's holed up. I know. I was just talking to my girlfriend today. It's like, or yesterday. It's like all the content creators are like, dude, I've been social isolating this whole time. This is all I do is I just sit in my apartment and come up with dumb shit for the whole internet to feast on. So you know, it's like all the YouTubers and all the like influencers on Instagram were like, oh yeah, this is where I thrive. Just being in my apartment, going like,
for real.
You know, and memers too.
Justin, have you heard of the podcast Turned Out a Punk with Damien from Fucked Up?
No.
So you know the band Fucked Up, obviously.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bands, by the way. I love them so much.
Solid stuff.
Oh God, it's crazy.
One of those overlooked ones.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. My wife bought me the new Dose Your Dreams for my birthday, double LP set. I bump it literally every day. It's one of my favorite records. But he runs a podcast called Turned Out a Punk. And he has like old punkers, new punkers, and everyone kind of, you know, in and around the punk community. And he just did a call with Mike Watt. That is a phenomenal episode. It's so good hearing like all those fucking stories that Mike Watt has. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
man.
he was kind of making the rounds for a while. He did a few podcasts, and I was like, all right, I gotta listen.
He has a book that just came out, I think, and that's why he was kind of doing some rounds. Yeah,
and he's got his own podcast too. I can't remember what it's called, but
he does.
Yeah, one of my buddies is on that one.
It's so cool.
I saw him at the Growler 6.
Oh God!
Yeah,
that sounds awesome. I have never seen him live, but Ball Hogger Tugboat changed my life.
I don't know about like that was one of those where punk rock piano like always surprises me. You know, where I'm like, I don't know if I like this, but I don't dislike it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So well a couple of times. It's the same thing where I'm like, this is it has to be there, but I don't know.
That's like
entirely why.
On that new Fucked Up record, right? Like the opening track like blares in and there's like a shitload of saxophones. What? I don't know how I feel about the punk sax. You know, I'm cool with the piano. I don't know how I feel about the punk saxophone.
Yeah. I love that stuff. I love when people can sneak an instrument in a way that like is so cursive. No, fucking banjo. Banjo can eat it. No, the only people who've done that. It
sounds like you're describing the goddamn banjo.
This is a great inside joke that everyone else will get. No, it's banjo can eat it. The Avett Brothers are the people who did banjo the best, and they did kind of punk rock. No, dude, seriously, before Rick Rubin got a hold of them, they were one of the most punk shows I had ever fucking seen.
Calling out Rick Rubin right now.
yeah, Rick Rubin. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I don't want to blame Rick Rubin because they might have done this too. The Avetts might have done that themselves, but
no, it was probably
they were slamming when I saw them, and they were like a banjo, a fucking double bass. Anyway, this is not where I wanted this conversation to go. What I was talking about was Cursive. When Cursive did their whole like slamming rock shit with cello at the heart of it, it was awesome. It was what
was that,
really
the ugly organ?
Yeah, the ugly organ, man.
Yeah.
And it's fucking incredible. It's like
record's
so powerful.
insane.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, I used to show that to all my friends. Go like, dude, check out this fucking hard ass record with cello in it. Anyway.
Oh, it works out. Like even I was thinking of Fear when this.
Oh God!
When we first started, like New York's All Right if you like saxophones, and then they put a saxophone. They throw a saxophone in there, and
yeah, dude.
It reminded me of Ned. How did you do with post punk?
I'm into it now. Like now is when I'm, and really Chris has been one of the people who's turned me on to most of those bands. But
all the sax bands, right?
Yeah,
Sax and heavy bass.
I love it.
Those sweet sax bands, y'all.
God, I love it.
Yeah, but I'm kind of down for anything. Punk just for some reason has never grabbed me. I don't know why. I've tried a bunch.
I feel like it's kind of the genre where you're either all in or you're out, and there's no in between. Like you're either a fucking huge fan and you like scavenge the earth for more, or you're like, nah, I'm not my bag, I feel like it's the same way with jazz too. Like no one like kind of listens to jazz. You either listen to jazz or you don't, right?
Yeah. It's like the closest I got with that was like Chaz Bundick and like the Matson 2 and when they did that collaborative thing, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Probably end it here though.
Weird, cool. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
And it wasn't even jazz. Like I interviewed Matson too, and I was like, how about this jazz record? Or like, what are your influences in jazz? Like, well, we wouldn't really call it a jazz record. I was like, okay.
Foot in mouth situation. Like, I'll go fuck myself. So
it's like, whoops.
I'm the critic here. I get to call it whatever genre I want.
God, that's so funny.
Yeah,
that's like when the Black Keys did that collab with Mos Def.
How was that?
Cool.
I didn't hear that at all.
It's called Black Rock, is what it's called. BLAQROC, I think. Or maybe the C and Q swapped. I'm not sure, but they did a collab with Mos Def. That's really cool. It's really cool, but like I wouldn't call it. I guess I'd call it hip hop. I don't know. I'd call it like slam poetry with sick music behind it.
Black Rock sounds like what Dan Auerbach's like parents called his music or something.
Yeah, dude. But it's a cool collab nonetheless. Like, sweet, But like, I don't think hip hop heads are searching for the Black Rock LP anytime soon.
Right.
Oh no, there was that joke too that somebody was like roasting Snoop Dogg, and they're like, he put out that reggae album, and it's like,
Snoop Lion.
It's like you might have a Snoop Dogg record, but if you're a reggae fan, you might have it, but if you're a reggae fan, you definitely don't have his reggae album.
Exactly. The best collab of all time, I think, in my humble opinion, is Shaggy and Sting put out a record last year that came out on 420.
I totally missed it.
They put out an album together, Shaggy and Sting.
Oh wow!
And came out on 420.
No one was happy about it. No one was genuinely happy about it. We were all kind of like in that way. We're like, oh yeah, nice, Dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, sweet record, Dad.
I just want to know how that looked on paper. Like, who approached who?
It looked like somebody owed the label another album. And...
Yeah. Like, is Sting a huge Shaggy fan? Like, the C Bump wasn't me all the time?
I guarantee it was Sting reaching out to Shaggy. I guarantee it.
It's like, hey, so, you got anything going on?
I'm willing to bet somebody went to Sting's agent or whatever, went to Sting and went like, okay, buddy, we got to do something to diversify this audience here. Listen, let's try to. It's like feels like politics to me. I can just maybe I'm just too entrenched in politics that I'm thinking about it this way, but I'm sure that's what happened.
I'm willing to bet they approached Busta Rhymes first and couldn't get him.
Yeah. What artists did they go through first? That's a fun game to play.
Yeah. How many no's
before they got like what
before
number
they got to Shaggy? It's like Tom Cruise with his wife search. It's like exactly. How many people did they have to go through before they went? Like Katie Holmes went like, yeah, all right.
Oh Lord, fucking miserable.
Who do you guys feel guilty about not liking musically? Like.
That's a really good question.
Okay, here we go. Chris, you got somebody yet, or I don't want to have too much dead air on this bad boy, but I do.
Here, I'll kick it off. I feel bad about not liking REM and U2. I just don't get it, and
I fucking hate U2.
I think I don't like U2, and I don't care for REM, but I wish I did. Like, I wish I got it because there's so much. Like,
Certainly.
Mine's definitely a hot fucking take, and I apologize. Mine's definitely.
No, you don't have to listen.
Like,
you don't apologize for hot takes. That's the whole point. Just come in.
This
with
is the
baby.
Breakfast Club right now. Just
I fucking can't stand that, like those early like Buddy Holly, all that like bubblegum early rock pop. I love the Beatles. That's like the one I love the Beatles so much.
The early
like,
Beatles.
Yeah, I'm more like I'm definitely more of like experimental era for sure, but I do love those early rock songs. I think they're really great. But like all those like I just can't. You know, I just don't like they're cool when I'm like having breakfast with my mom, you know, but like I just can't, you know. And like honestly, the other one I don't like. I just can't. Is Frank Sinatra.
Ah, really?
I know.
Yeah, you're wrong about that one for sure.
Yeah, I'm a huge Frank Sinatra fan.
Yeah, he's cool.
And honestly, and Elvis. I'm like, nah.
Oh,
you're really wrong about Elvis.
I told you I had hot takes.
I know.
Those are definitely hot takes.
You're gonna be mad about mine. Mine is the Beatles.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mine is the Beatles. I like everybody just gushes and fucking gushes, and it's crazy. I sit here and I listen to Beatles records, and I can't make it through. I mean, really.
In the era, huh?
No, I loved watching 8 Days a Week. I loved like watching documentaries about them. I think they are fascinating as like, and the Rolling Stones too. I couldn't give a fuck about the Rolling Stones. The Beatles I get, but the Rolling Stones are really good. Like people all the time
people
coming
who are
hot.
Freaks about the Stones. I'm like, ugh.
I just don't understand. The Doors too. The Doors I could give a fuck about.
Oh, the Doors were a big.
We just met Robbie Krieger from the Doors.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was
we're
awesome.
All, like, standing there, and he goes, "You guys know where the bathroom is?" And we're like, I mean,
no, you are.
My way, Robbie Krieger.
Yeah,
dude, fucking, So I guess maybe I should focus on the Doors and the Stones, because the Beatles, like, I get a little bit, but I feel guilty for not actually liking them. The ones that I don't feel guilty about one bit, and that I will go to bat every time, is that somebody comes at me with the Doors or the Rolling Stones, I go like, get fucked. Both of those bands suck.
Stones for sure.
I can't stand them.
I don't get the Stones thing.
I understand the Stones less than the Doors, but I understand the Doors a pretty similar amount, where I just feel like it's really all the Doors are is like the band. I really don't understand Jim Morrison. I think Jim Morrison is like doesn't.
Well, I think people were on way more drugs than we are now then.
Yeah, maybe.
And like, you know, it was like no one was streaming the Doors. No, I'm willing to bet no one was even buying Doors records until Jim Morrison died. And then it was like, oh, great, now we can have this. But I'm willing to bet mostly it was the live show.
Yeah, I'm sure that the Doors are kind of like metal music, where you just go like, well, you just had to be there. You get it if you're in front. Like if you see Jim Morrison whip his dick out, and like that's how rock and roll it was.
Like my grandmother fucking loves the Doors. That's like her favorite band. It's crazy.
Did she catch them?
Why? Yeah, she used to get. Yeah, she's been to a bunch of their shows when she was young.
Did you ever get
does
to
she
talk
avoid
about
sugar cubes nowadays?
Yeah.
Did she ever talk about how like was it the appeal of Jim Morrison? Was it like kind of like sticking it to her parents by loving the Doors? Like that's what I feel like it was. Yeah, and that was kind of punk rock before punk rock was happening, right? I mean, like it was like weird and kind of circusy and strange, and parents listened to it. We're like, "What the fuck are you listening to, idiot kid?" Yeah.
You guys remember an Almost Famous? What's his face? Philip Seymour Hoffman. He was just like, the Doors. He's a drunken buffoon.
The drunken buffoon.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, oh, that's a hot take.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, man. But I listen to him now, and I just think like that has no staying power to me. It just feels so like, oh, so what? You played a fucking circus organ. Good for you. You know, like
that dude was easily the most talented dude in the band.
And that part is cool.
He was shredding on bass and on organ at the same time. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Which is cool, but it's not enough to make me go like, great, I need to listen to this over and over again. And Jim Morrison's just not a captivating singer to me in the least. Like I'm mad about why Jim Morrison is popular. Like it's, I don't understand. I'm a crusader against the Doors.
Takes.
Yeah. Anyway, so take that, everybody. If you wanted a hot take, you get a fucking hot take.
So who did you listen to in high school then? Who before you started playing anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who put the instruments in your hands?
dude.
This is so funny. I feel embarrassed every time I talk about this question because all my music counterparts that I really respect immediately go like, wow, that is not what I expected to come out of you, Ned. I hate it. But it's like Dave Matthews. Honestly, I like Dave Matthews.
Talk about a fucking band I hate.
Dude, I mean, and I've had to like do some soul searching about this. I've had to do some, dude, talk about somebody who really challenged a genre, like bringing in rhythms that hadn't even been thought about before in this fucking old, like, yokel fucking acoustic guitar playing stuff.
Yeah.
And the way that he sang, like, no one else was, I mean, at least for me, like, he singing wise was really influential to me. I think subconsciously, like, kind of like singing along to his records has really influenced how I sing with Sorry Party, where I'm just kind of like, am willing to throw my voice around through falsetto and through kind of chest voice and whatever I want, and not feel like I have to logically climb up to that or anything. Like, he really was a lot of
like gives you room to breathe
like that.
Like,
yeah.
I respect the musicianship in Dave Matthews way more than I respect the musicianship of the Rolling Stones. Is that fucked up?
No, but it's
no.
I mean, dude, but it's because that band is comprised. It's
they're
jammy.
just like all fucking fantastic.
It's jammy. They're all motherfuckers.
They're all fantastic musicians.
Everybody's a motherfucker in that band. I mean, all drummers I know who are motherfucker drummers love Carter Beauford, who like that dude is crazy.
Yeah, dude.
And I mean, everybody makes fun of him, rightfully so, for being a little busy and using too many cymbals. If you ever watch a live video of Dave Matthews, if you haven't yet, it's really fun to watch Carter Beauford just like play all the way across his eye view of cymbals.
It's so funny.
As far as you can see is just cymbals. But anyway.
Mine is probably on par. I was like, so I'd been playing drums and taking like formal lessons like really young, like since I was like 5. And you know, I was always listening to pop music and hip hop and stuff. But like when I came into my own was when my buddy handed me that self-titled White Stripes album. That was that self-titled was the one that I turned it on, and that was the first time where I'm like, oh my god. Because I had loved the blues before, and like all my teachers, you know, in formal lessons and shit were like, oh yeah, like I was introduced to like old school blues guys, and I was introduced to like rock and roll, but like the White Stripes were the first band that like put them together for me of like, oh shit, yeah, you can be fucking punk and blues and rock and just like be going crazy. And that it was literally like a month after that record was when I like played with other people in a band for the first time.
Oh,
you
wow.
know? And that was probably like 6th grade. 6th grade was when we started. My buddy got a guitar and an amp for his birthday. I had a drum set, and then my other buddy played saxophone. And so literally, they used to just come over and play in my parents' basement all the time. And so that's literally how I start, like, but it was that White Stripes record. Yeah. And then like, and then I jetted from there to like other kind of like UK blues rock influence stuff. Like the next like big record for me was probably Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, but from the Arctic Monkeys. That was like,
that record got me too.
For me. Yeah. And so I stayed in that pocket. Like all my bands growing up were all like blues rock, blues punk, that kind of like, you know, all kind of White Stripesy kind of sounding stuff, or like heavy and hard, but like still rooted in a lot of that like minor blues kind of stuff. And that had me for a long time, probably until I went to college. That was like middle school through high school, and then college I started opening up to more stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's probably true for both Chris and me. I know we've had this conversation a million times in the van that it almost feels like when I try to tell people where my musical background was at that stage of my life, like it's so diverse and so varied that like it almost is a mischaracterization to talk about one artist at all, period. You know, like I'm thinking I'm hearing everybody listening to this podcast going like, Ned listened to fucking Dave Matthews alone and that was it. But seriously, like every record of that time, like was it, if it was Arctic Monkeys, if it was like I listened to a ton of Ludacris. I really like, I could rap you every single word off a word of mouth. And then also Clips was really big on the East Coast when they weren't out here because they were from Virginia. That was a rap group for those who don't know, but now it's Pusha T and his brother.
Okay.
Malice. So Pusha T came from Clips. They were one of the first artists that Pharrell and the Neptunes really worked with. So I listened to NERD I listened to them. I listened to Dave Matthews. I listened to Under Oath. I was like, you know, so it's like, and I think this kind of like vast array of music. I know that Chris has the same story, just like between punk and rap and blues and whatever else. It's like we are such an amalgamation of all of these things, and it's probably true for most people. But I think our music kind of reflects that. In like how you, I don't know, I know we have a hard time pinning our music down and going like, cool, we sound like this, and here's our elevator pitch for our band, other than like it's evocative, it's emotional, it's big, you know, but it like not that we throw in rap beats in the middle of our rock tunes or anything.
Well, you haven't heard the new record yet, Justin.
Yeah, we're coming out with some fucking fire.
Some fire bridges.
Yeah, got Shaggy featured on a couple songs.
And Sting on another, but we didn't mix them. You don't mix them.
Yeah, they're no longer speaking. So after that last collab.
Yeah, for sure. So it's big, man. Yeah.
You guys definitely sound informed. Like everybody in the band just knows.
Cool.
Music.
That's nice.
You know, it's I don't know. It seems apparent that everybody is a fan. You're not just playing music because you know, don't know what else to do. Like you're doing this because you absolutely love it. You know.
Yeah.
It's that apparent.
I kind of have to,
you know?
Unfortunately.
Yes. I know my mom's wife is a professional musician, and she was one of the first people to, when I was like talking to her going like, hey, I think I want to do this thing when I was like 19. So like, if you can do anything else, you should do that. Damn. And not in like a mean way, but like a kind of in a compassionate way too. Just going like, this life is hard.
Oh, she knew what she was talking about. Yeah.
Yes, dude. Yeah. I mean, she was signed to Arista in the 80s, and they fucking like dropped her right after they spent $250,000 on her. And then she had to recoup that, you know, had to declare bankruptcy because of that, and had to give them her band name. Like I mean, she really is one of these people who has really gone through the ringer and is still doing it and is incredible. She's one of the best songwriters I've ever met. But she was also the first person to ever say that to me, to go like, if you can see yourself doing anything else, you should do that. Just because, you know, and we should all like respect people who are pursuing music as a career for that reason. I mean, like, I think I don't know. I know I have a tendency to kind of not give people the reverence they deserve in that way. Just like, hey man, you're doing it, and this is fucking tough and good for you.
Well, it's such an investment of time and money and just energy, mental energy that like, especially songwriting. Like it's I'm not a musician, so to me this is all just magic, you know, like it's incredible that anybody can play anything, let alone play great stuff that you know that I can just have on repeat constantly. Like around your hi-hat show especially, I was just listening to you guys and I was like, this is incredible stuff. Like I don't know what to do with it. Like I just want it just to play. You know?
You and everyone else.
I just want to tell people about it, and you know.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I appreciate that. I think we need as many advocates like you as we can get, and really, you know, it's people like y'all who make our careers and make it worth it for us.
The one thing like we're so thankful for is like, you know, those numbers, you know, that we kind of started this whole thing talking about, right? Those like Spotify numbers are not people who just found us through a playlist, right? Like what I'm really proud of and so appreciative for is we always have the core group of like 70 people, 75 people who are at every single show. Yeah. You know what I mean? Every single show, they're buying every single thing we put out. They're pushing everything we do. And like, that is massive. You know what I mean? Like it makes me feel like, okay, cool. Like this isn't for nothing. Like, because people wouldn't support it if they didn't genuinely believe in it, right? And it's like, I don't support bands I don't genuinely believe in typically, you know? So it's like, you know, there's so much choices that it does feel really great to know like, okay, like so thankful for like people like you and you know, all of our friends and other artists who are out at every single show. It's crazy. You know, it makes it all worth it.
And we try to be invested in those people as well. I mean, that's a big important part of it for us, is like we talk about this a lot, where this is us like building a family. It's a chosen family more than it is like a fan base, and more than it is you know, like I think a lot of artists think about it that way, but really for us, like at the shows, you will catch us actually talking with everyone after the show and saying hey to literally everybody who is in there to see us, because these are our people. Like they're, some of them are our friends, and some of them we don't have big, strong relationships with outside of that interaction where we are seeing each other at shows. But those interactions are important to us, and it feels like calling somebody on the phone, and it feels like going like, oh, hey, Justin, it's good to see you again, man. Like, how's everything been? And that's a genuine question. It's not just trying to pass time or trying to give you your propers or whatever. It's like, that's what it's about for us. It's about
you're not doing that
with people.
You're not doing the LA thing of just
No.
rubbing elbows for the sake of it. Like
what
I really loved about when I first met you guys was at Highland Park Bowl. You weren't playing. It was Cass was playing, and you guys were there. And right. Oh no! You guys were playing that night.
No, we shared the bill that night. I think
you did share the bill. Yeah. And my favorite part of that was like meeting you guys for the first time, and just acting like we were old friends.
Yeah,
almost. It's like you just you guys are both very personable, and I didn't meet anybody else in the band, but like I only met you two. But you're just very personable and very grateful that the room was full. It was it's very nice because when you have your pick of shows, of venues, especially in LA at any given night, not recently, but like it's so cool to find bands that are just happy to be there, as opposed to just like load out and get the fuck out of here,
Exactly.
Totally. Yeah. It's a valuable experience every time for us. At least we try to make it be. I mean, like, I think we'd be lying if we said like, we're really always 100% fully present at every show, but like, it is our intention to be fully present at every single show and to try to be there with the people we're there with. And we try to, I mean, a part of that is we're demanding that of the audience too. I think that's what makes our show special, is that like, in every show you can hear us and feel us trying to like pull the crowd almost on stage with us, is what it feels like to me sometimes, where like, I wish we could play in the middle of the room, but the venues aren't always set up that way. And I don't know that would be sonically the best and really the most enjoyable for people, but that's what I wanted to feel like. I wanted to feel like we're all sitting in a living room together, or that we're all like right there, instead of having it be a other and then us, like, we're the unattainable ones on stage. You guys shut the fuck up. We're going to talk now. Like, I don't know. I both my parents are ministers. I grew up in churches, and that's very much what a good church service feels like. And music has kind of become my church and has become like my God and has become my all that stuff. And so like, it's very personal for me, and getting to create that environment feels like that,
Oh yeah. Especially coming from the worship service atmosphere, right? Like I know exactly what that. I grew up at in Calvary Chapel, and it was the same thing, just like worship service before the actual service. Everybody's into it. Sometimes, like, they usually had a stage, but like sometimes it was just like in a room, in a little room, just to get people going. And that energy is always, I think it always should be welcome,
Yeah, totally. And it's calling it what it is too. Like I in the South, I went going to a couple of those like real new wave kind of Southern Baptist services, and I'm sure not all of them are like this. Again, I don't want to like shit on anybody, but I think that like I got mad at some of those because they were using the power of music and the power of rock and roll, to be truthful, to sell people on this idea instead of like being genuine about it, instead of actually like trying to make a connection that was real. They were trying to pull emotions out of people facetiously. It felt like for their own benefit. It felt kind of like dark a little bit. And so I think part of what we do, it feels like taking the power back. It feels like going like, no, motherfuckers, y'all don't get rock and roll. Rock and roll is for this. Like, this is real.
It's for
like,
the heathen Satanists.
Yeah, and it is, and it's God, it's church, it's it's a savior, it's a whatever, it's cleansing, it's all this stuff that people want at a church, except without the bullshit. Like, like I just, and that, again, I feel bad. I'm like shitting on my parents' profession, but like, it's not, and it's not that. Like I think that stuff is for people, but for me, it really feels honest and genuine, and like we're not I really want to make sure that people know what they're getting when they come to our show, and they know that we're not doing this in a sinister way. We are doing this in a purely open, but like, please give us your emotions. We will give you ours, and we can be in a vulnerable place together where we all feel safe to feel something.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really powerful. That's the time where like I feel like crying. It's the time where I feel like falling into somebody's arms, you know, be it a stranger or someone that I know. You know, like that's the experience I want our show to feel like. And that's what we're trying to take back from those kind of things of like, we're going to ask you for some money. We're going to ask you for some money up front and to keep this thing going. And also so that you can get a shirt and share us and be a part of our family, you know, but like, it's not in that way of like, hey, give us a bunch of stuff and we'll promise you some sort of ethereal thing. We're going to promise you real companionship and real connection and real here now humanism, rock and roll. This is us connecting. Anyway,
that's incredible, because it's not just another show. It's a fellowship. I mean, call it, like you said, call it what it is. It's a fellowship.
Totally. Yeah.
This is exactly, it's church.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a heathenistic, agnostic. We don't need to say whether or not we know that something is, it's like connecting to the divinity and us. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I like about it. It feels like going like, you're holy, I'm holy, she's holy, he's holy, they're holy. Like we're all doing this. That's what I mean, the Lord's work. I don't mean actually the Lord or Jesus or any kind of religion. It's like the kind of
John
whatever.
Bonham.
Yeah, the John Bonham. We're praising John. John's us.
Oh, that's kind of a band I'm not super into.
Led Zeppelin.
Kinda.
It's another hot take there.
That is a hot take.
I mean, fight you on that one.
Greta Van Fleet has ruined it for everybody.
Yeah. Oh man, I was late to the criticism of Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah, we should have been shitting on him a year ago if this was the right time to podcast.
Oh yeah, well, like, because it had already been out for probably a year. That one, I forgot what the name of the song was, where just the video and his voice and the guitar, I was just like, what?
Yeah, I can't remember what that song is.
Like, this is a solid cover band, and like, there is a case to be made for a good cover band.
Solid cover band.
Because they're great musicians. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing.
And that dude sounds just like Robert Plant. It's crazy. It's crazy how much
they found all the riffs on ultimateguitar.com.
And I wish I could remember what that song's called. I know exactly what you're talking about. I could sing it to you right now, but anyway, I don't want to be a cover of a cover. Anyway, yeah, dude. So anyway, that's what it's about for us. Is really we want to be pulling people in for that.
Yeah.
And so everybody who's listening, come to our show. Come see us,
please.
Yes, 100%.
We have new music. We have so much written. We're going to be putting it out. Just be cool.
Yeah, and that's a fun thing about this time too, right? Like, I think it's challenging all of us. Like, we had these plans to be like really not overproduced, but we wanted to like go into a nice studio and like really do the thing. We were working with somebody that we really love and respect, but like, this is a fun. Chris and I both keep going like, okay, fuck it. Let's just get back to the punkness and do it DIY and like not have to wait on anybody and not have to, like, we can do it from our homes right here, right now, and see what that sounds like. And like, be open and honest about that process. So like, this was a forced DIY, but we're doing it, you know?
Right.
Adversity, our characters built through adversity, right? And like, you know, well, that's not even the expression I was going for. I just spewed something out that made no sense.
Oh yeah, I've heard that one.
It made sense.
I've heard that one.
Oh, it makes sense. I don't think it was contextual. Like, what was the
adversity breeds character, something like that?
Yeah. But I was going for like, necessity is the mother of invention.
Oh, yes.
Right. So
there it is.
There's that truism.
Let me just like pull out my phone for all these little axioms. No, but seriously, like, it's everybody's streaming now, which is really cool. The game's going to change entirely.
It's going to totally change. It's going to totally change. Yeah. Instead of pressure after this, I've thought of this the other day and went and got crazy anxiety from it. Instead of people being so focused on going to live shows and doing venues, you're going to see all of these artists doing paywalls of $5-10, and then you get in and see the live stream of them, and you can talk with them and ask them questions. This is going to totally change them.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I guess that's good for bands like ours who believe in getting into the venue. But like, it's gonna totally. And it's even with movies. I mean, this is the big experiment. Do movie theaters need to exist? Right? Can they make just as much money releasing movies for rent to stream? Right?
Oh,
So
sure.
this is going to be the big test all around, right? Of all mediums of art and media and everything.
Yeah.
What do we actually need? What will people do? And I think there is totally a market of people who will just stream concerts now, from a studio somewhere,
right.
and pay $5-10 to go see it, and they're happier than a pig in shit.
Yeah,
I watched the Dropkick Murphys stream. It was fucking tight.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I wonder. I know. I've been thinking about that a lot. Is that more connected or is it less connected? Is it more connected because everybody gets a front row seat, right? We all get to be right here with each other instead of like kind of across the room or across the table in this setting. And but I think there's got to be something magical about the actual physical connection to somebody. And I know it's got me scared in that way. But also I think what we're going to see is the live show becoming even more cult following kind of more like there are like 10,000 people in every city that love religiously going to stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And that's, I think it's going to breed more intimacy in that way. Right. But you're kind of every man is going to be able to enjoy this setting and feel closer because the virtual connection is real too. In that way, like I think it's intimate in its own right, and people feel connected. I mean,
it is for sure, and I would agree that a Dropkick Murphys stream would be great because sometimes you don't want to go to a Dropkick Murphys show. Totally. It's kind of a
or tell your friends that you even like them.
Yeah, you'll get to be guilty fans of bands more easily. That's funny.
Take that Palehound show we went to, Justin, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like that, my experience at that Palehound show was because there were people there I knew and we all got to hang out and be there together. That's the part that like you miss out on, right? Like, sick. I streamed the Dropkick Murphys set. I saw them play Ship It Up to Boston while I sat on my couch eating fucking Cheetos. But I'm not going to tell anybody about how good that show was, but I'm going to go like, me and my friends saw Palehound and it was fucking sick at the Roxy.
Yeah.
It was like super comfortable and everyone was all, like that's the shit, that like people are going to go like, oh yeah, like those are the concerts they're going to talk about. Oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
The live streaming thing, like I always wondered why it didn't kick off in the first place. Coachella started doing it a couple years ago, and I'm sure a few others were, and like it's great, but because why not stream a show? What's this place? Rock and Roll Hotel in DC. They just recently closed down, but they used to stream the stage like upstairs. And I thought, well, why not just put that online? That'd be pretty cool too. Yep. Not the same, like you said. I'm not going to stop going to shows. That's for sure.
Right.
And like all my friends are at shows. I spend a lot of time in Pomona, where just there's always something going on, and I'm always running into people I know. And as time passes, we get more specialized in the things that we do and how we spend our time. Maybe you're not spending all your time with your friends anymore. So going to shows or recording or whatever it is, like anything to bring you together, I think is important. And shows, I think, for us anyway, it's ideal,
Right. Yeah. And I don't think there's any replacement for feeling the kick coming through your chest or the subwoofer pumping bass through your body or really feeling the sweat come off of somebody doing a hair whip or what, like there's just no fucking replacement for that. And I mean, it's the same, like I would never choose this over getting to actually hug somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just there's no replacement for the physical. And so I think, I think it'll still live on. And I know that I feel like we're going to keep kind of Don Quixote style searching for the live show magic that we're always, trying to get there and trying to have the physical connection with the thousands and thousands of people rather than, just the 50 people but the 50 people feels really good too. And I think people who have the thousands and thousands want the 50 people.
Oh yeah. How many of those bands miss the small venue?
We were on tour and we got to go hang out with, I have a buddy who's really good friends with the lead singer from Dawes, with Taylor. We were just happened to be in the same Illinois. We were in Normal, Illinois.
Bloomington.
Well, yeah. So Normal is right next to Bloomington. Bloomington is where the big college is. And so we were in Normal and we were staying there with some family friends. And then we just heard from that family friend that Dawes was in town. We reached out, we got to go hang out with Dawes after their set. And we were showing them our tour van. We were talking about touring and we told them we were a band and they were like, oh, cool, sick. And they were like totally wanting to chop it up about the old days, current days for us. And you could just feel it from them. They were all going like, man, we miss that. Like we miss being where you guys are. Like, yeah, it sucked and that it stinks and you're hungry and you eat dumpy ass food and you never sleep and you drink too much and you do all the bad stuff and you get a sore throat or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they were like, yeah, we're about to go climb in the van. We're about to go climb in the bus and climb into our little bunk. And then they're going to drive us to the next city. We're going to wake up and be in the next city and play it. And there's something really romantic and beautiful about where we are. And so I think like to that point, I could totally feel it from them. We're going like, man, shit.
They miss it. The good old days.
That was great. Yeah. It's great getting to play to 50 people. It's incredible. And that can be just as electric, I think. And so anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I talked to this band called Lost in Society out of Jersey.
Cool.
They came all the way out to Fullerton in a van because there's this one spot that they played a couple of times and they always draw a little crowd. It's a little skate shop called
Program, dude. I love Program.
Yeah, Program rocks.
It's great.
And it's tiny. That's not a venue. That's they left all the clothes.
Oh yeah,
clothing racks up, so it's a little crowded. And
you buy some bands while you're there.
Yeah. And I was talking to them before their set in the brand new van that they had bought. They all chipped in, and I was like, "Why not fly? Why not? There's
not the same.
A couple options." And they're like, we bought the van to solidify this work that we're doing. They're like an old beat up van. If it breaks down, we can't tour anymore. More incentive to just kind of wrap it up. So they bought this brand new van. They're like, it's super expensive and we're all in it and we are going to drive this thing all over.
I love it.
Like,
I love
that's
it.
great. And even to just a place like Program or I think they were playing Warped Tour or something like that too. Where it's just like big, small, whatever it is.
Doesn't matter. Anywhere there's people who want to see it,
Yeah.
That's the magic part. Like you're talking about, Justin, that's the magic.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share that? Yeah, dude.
Well, thanks for doing this, guys.
Dude, thank you for having us.
We are at anytime, by the way. Yeah, we can do this more and more. And
awesome.
We have time now.
Awesome,
we like to chop it up.
Hell yeah.
We're down.
Yeah, this is always fun. We're at it over an hour, so
great.
Yeah, that worked out. That 40-minute limit did not stop us.
Did not hinder us.
No.
Awesome.
Cool. So anything, we've kind of been doing it throughout, but anything to plug for the end?
Sure. Yeah, we're definitely going to have some new music coming out. So, follow us on our Bandcamp and Spotify. That's where we do all of our musical bidding.
Mm-hmm.
All the socials, of course.
And we're going to be on a live show, Taylor, as soon as we're able to get those back up and running and celebrating the community in person. So just stay on. Yeah, on Spotify does a really good job of keeping people up to date with what our shows look like. And also all of our socials, we are constantly posting on that and keeping that right and tight. So
I love that Spotify feature, actually.
Me too.
It's so helpful.
It's how I find out about most bigger concerts. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I would have otherwise I'm just looking up venue by venue, I have a folder in my browser, just go down the list, who's playing where. Yeah,
absolutely. So we'll catch you all out at our show or at someone else's show and we'll be doing it.
Cool. And I'll be singing your praises from this end. So.
Thanks, man.
Us to you as well.
Yeah, exactly right. You're doing the Lord's work.
Trying.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Hey.
I'm gonna stop.